all that said, I do want to, because a lot of people who are vegan write to me, and I do want to seriously, in the same seriousness that I approach keto, I do want to go like on a few months to switch to a vegan diet at some point to really try it.
Yeah, I haven't done it yet because I'm afraid I'm going to function better. I'm Argentine by my dad's side, and I don't eat meat super often, but well, for most people it would seem often, but I do love steak. I do. So I'm afraid I'm going to feel better.
There's a social element to steak. You're right, because coming from a Russian background, like I can't imagine going to visit my folks, like my parents for Thanksgiving or something, and say, "Mom and Dad, I don't eat meat." So is it,
Well, I think if you're going to eat meat, getting it from sources that are compatible with, continuation of the planet is good. I mean, there are some real problems with the factory farm meat. You drive up and down the 5 and you pass that point where there are all those cows. I mean, as somebody who loves animals, it's clear that it's, you want to limit the amount of suffering of those animals. Whenever I hear about, we know people that hunt and that go and get their own meat. I really admire that. I admire that people do that. We don't tend to do that in the hills around Stanford. There are mountain lions back there, but that's about it. And I'm certainly, I admire the vegan mindset of just making that decision. You're just not going to consume other beings, but I haven't gone that way.
But performance-wise, I'm just curious because I was surprised. I was certain that eating 5, 6, 7 meals a day is the right thing to do for all, if you want to perform your best, when I was like 20 or whatever. And I would eat oatmeal. Like, I thought it's obvious I have to have a lot of carbs in the breakfast. I had a lot of preconceived notions. And then when I started eating like once a day, this was at the peak of my competing in jiu-jitsu. It was like everything I know about nutrition is wrong.
Yeah.
You realize that like you have to become a scientist. First of all, you have to read literature, you have to learn, you experiment, but you also have to become a scientist of your own body. And in the same way, I have a lot of preconceived notions of what performance is like under vegan diet. And I want to do it right, like seriously, not necessarily for the ethical reasons, but to see if it's performance-wise. Like, can I remember there's like a fruitarian diet where you eat fruit only.
These extremes are like, they're interesting because people have this need. The extremes are informative though, right? I mean,
right.
Well-controlled experiments, you eliminate as many variables as you can, except the one you're interested in. So people are running these experiments. I think that it's hard to imagine I know people say you can get enough amino acids from plant-based sources, and I believe that. I think it probably takes a little more work. One thing that's really clear is that the benefit of these omega-3, omega-6 ratios, like fish oils and things like that. There's some data that show that getting at least 1,000 milligrams of the EPA, which is high in fish oils, but other things too, even some meats and other plants, in matched placebo-controlled double-blind studies have shown that those can offset antidepressive symptoms as much as some of the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors like Prozac and Zoloft. So that's pretty impressive. And in Scandinavia, people know, especially in winter, to consume a lot of those omega-3s because they're good for you. They're good for the brain.